Instagram stories for Monday, September 1st. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. Today on the show, we're going to hear about some new Instagram DM management updates that will make handling your inbox easier. Additionally, we'll hear from the @creators account with some ways that you can brainstorm hooks for your reels so that you catch people's attention and you use AI to write those hooks for you. We'll also talk about a new TikTok feature that allows you to do audio messaging inside the inbox, just like you've been able to do on Instagram or your text messages for years. And we'll hear from master storyteller Cyndi Zaweski talking about how you can use storytelling in your own social media. All of that and more on today's episode, but first, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Welcome back. Let's start with the Instagram news. The @creators account shared a messaging update for creators that you can now choose from multi-select filters, custom shortcuts, and new inbox folders for a more simplified and smoother messages experience on Instagram. Let me explain what that all means. Managing your inbox on Instagram can be hard, especially if you use an automated tool like ManyChat to respond to messages because you're not sure what requires a human to respond to or what ManyChat has taken care of for you. Or you may just get so many Instagram DMs, some of which are actual messages from people wanting to communicate with you, and some may just be story replies where someone has given a heart emoji or written one word in response to a story, and that also comes into your DM inbox. Now you have the ability to filter. You can create an inbox filter for story replies, unread messages, unanswered messages, filters for your followers, and for your verified followers. This is very powerful. I'm glad that Instagram is doing this. I'm going to link to a screenshot of what this looks like in the show notes so you can check it out. Definitely make sure your Instagram app is updated. And if you get a lot of DMs, you're going to start wanting to use these filters so you ensure you see the messages that are most important. Okay, let's just stick on Instagram for a second because I want to talk about some Instagram strategy before I jump to the TikTok news. On the @creators account, there is a post from a gentleman called Sirio. He is not a creator that I'm familiar with, but he explains how he uses Meta AI to come up with hooks that he then uses to create his videos, which he then uses as trial reels to test which videos are performing well, and based on that, he releases them to his feed. He does this in an A/B testing kind of way, which I think is really important because then by the time you share it to your followers, you know that the content is going to perform well. In the video where he explains this strategy, at one point he says, screenshot this so you can copy what I wrote. I will read that to you and I will also link to the video so you can see it for yourself. You can find it in the show notes, but here's the clip to explain.
This has to be the best kept hack that your favorite creators are using to go viral, including me. I've actually generated over 2 million views with this strategy. Here's what I do. Every day I use this exact prompt inside Meta AI. You can screenshot it. It works for me every single time. It helps me with writing different hooks, different captions, pretty much A/B testing. I post all of these variations as trial reels, and one of these hooks got 100,000 views once, and thousands of new followers. Then I took the exact same video, reposted it on my main account, and like you see, it reached over 500,000 views. Another one. If you ever wonder how creators seem to know what will perform, this is how. It's literally a numbers game, testing things and ideas fast. And that, my friend, is what it means to create without limits. This is Syria.
Okay, so now you have that general idea. Here's what he actually writes into the Meta AI so that it writes the script for him with the hook. Here's what he put. Give me a hook for an Instagram reel script that I'm about to paste. And then he's got bullets. The first one, start with a bold, urgent claim that feels slightly shocking or contrarian. And then he gives some examples. In the last 48 hours, I discovered X. Stop using blank for blank. Everyone thinks X, but actually Y. So those are some examples that he gives. Then he says, immediately add a personal anchor that makes it feel authentic. For example, I was blank. I tested this myself. Here's what happened. He then says, then explain it with a relatable analogy or simple metaphor. It's kind of like this, or think of it like that. And he gives the AI the opportunity to fill in the blank. He continues the instructions with, end with an invitation or series setup. If you want me to break down blank, comment blank, or go to part 2, or hit follow to join the series. Make it conversational, curious, and non-patronizing, like I'm talking to a friend. Then he says, let me know when you are ready to read the script. I will paste it after you confirm you understand. And then the AI responds, I'm ready to help. I understand you're looking for, and then lists all the things that he had just typed in. I will link to this in the show notes so that you can see it for yourself, but I think this is a fantastic strategy. It requires creating videos and different versions of those videos so that you can do the A/B testing. But once you know what works and you hit on the formula like he's done, I think it is an absolute recipe for success. Okay, let's move on to the TikTok news. They've added some new DM features, and the most important is the audio messages feature. Just like on Instagram, you can now send an audio message through the TikTok DM inbox. You can create a minute-long audio clip by holding down the microphone button alongside the text box and then sending it. You can release the record button to send it, or if it's not a good voice memo and you want to delete it and start over, you can swipe across to delete it, or you can swipe up to lock the recording and to continue to record without pressing and holding, then tap the send button to send or the delete button to discard. So there's an alternative to the immediate send as soon as you release the button, but it's good to know you can delete a voice message within 3 minutes of sending. I've definitely sent voice messages in the past, and then once it's sent, thought I could explain that better. So I immediately delete the message and resend it. You have that 3-minute window where you can delete the message on TikTok, which is a great idea. Additionally, TikTok has added a key safety feature with users unable to send an image or video as an initial message request. TikTok DMs are also not available to users under 16 at all to help keep teens safe on the platform. Okay, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, Cyndi Zaweski, master storyteller, is going to share her secrets and strategies that she shares with her clients on the show. Stick around. Welcome back. Here's a clip from an interview that I recently did with Cyndi Zaweski, master storyteller. Today in the show, we have Cyndi Zaweski. Cyndi, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Daniel.
Cyndi, for people who aren't familiar with you, can you tell us who you are and what it is that you do?
Sure. I'm Cyndi Zaweski, and I'm the owner of StoryCraft with Cyndi, and we help solopreneurs and brands tell their story online. Our whole mission is to do storytelling better, and that's what we do here. We talk to a lot of people, and they always are like, "How do I use my story?" And it could do so much more than answer, why did I start my business or why did I start my brand? Your story is your personality, and it can help you talk about the things that you want to talk about and share with your audience how you help them and make it fun and engaging. So there's a lot to do with storytelling that just goes beyond the whole, why did you start your business? And that's what we help solopreneurs and brands do.
That's really something I want to dig into and find out more about. So how does someone find out what their story is? Like, how do they determine what the best thing to talk about is? How do you approach that?
So it depends on what you want your goal for your story to be, but a great way to start coming up with story ideas, like what should you tell, is to look at the common enemies that you, and especially if you're a solopreneur or you're making your own content, you're a founder, you're trying to lead out by example. A really great story can show how you lead out by example. And one thing that I like to do with my clients right off the bat is come off with some vision for their brand. What is a shared goal that you have with your audience? If you think about a brand like Nike, their mission, their motto is not just for athletes, but it's really for everybody to get motivated and find that greatness within them. And so much of their advertising and what they talk about on social media and what they do, it all centers around that, right? Like, you look at Nike's social media and you're not going to see a sneaker. You're really seeing those inspirational stories. So that's what I try to do. The first question that I ask is talking to founders about what is the mission beyond the thing that you do, beyond the problem that you solve. And a really great place to start is to look within, right? Like, I think that sometimes we forget how similar we are to our audiences, and you can bleed out but still struggle with the same things like perfectionism and imposter syndrome, packed schedules, hustle culture. There's every great story is a transformation, and it has a conflict in it, a tension, right? What kind of story would it be if they were like, the Titanic, sailed off and then it sank, right? Like there's tension, there's like they hit the iceberg. And so like that way of finding a common enemy or something to rally against, that's a really great way to find a connection point, find that tension in your story, and to rally the like-minded people around your vision, your mission.
Okay, so how would you start doing that? Let's say you talked specifically before, I think you mentioned working with solopreneurs. If someone was a content creator, how would they find what sort of thing their followers or community could rally against? Because I like this idea, but how would they actually find something?
So look at your own life. Look at the things that you're overcoming. Look back at your life, like reframe your story. I think a lot of people have a hard time looking back at their life, and maybe they only see mistakes and they only see failures, right? So that makes it hard. But like when you can look back at your story and look back at those failures and say, oh yeah, like that was a failure, but I learned X, Y, and Z, and it directed me in this direction that I didn't know. And then all of a sudden you're coming up with these insights and you're like, you know what? That situation was terrible and it sucked, but it actually made me the person I am today. And like, those are little things that you could start like finding your story in, right? So, like, for me, it's like I used to be a news anchor, but yeah, I did. It was one of my first jobs. I was a journalist for 13 years before I started my company, and that's why story is so important to me. Helping people tell their story is so important to me. But I was always so uncomfortable on camera, right? And I was just like, this is something that I have to get better at. And it's also something my audience wants to get better at. So I'm out there and I'm trying different techniques and what's working for me. And now that's a story I tell all the time about how I started to become more comfortable on camera. And, I tell the story all the time about how everyone could be a better storyteller. There's, from my own life, of course, like getting better throughout the years of my career. But also, people like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was not a great storyteller in the beginning. And he went through this whole evolution. He got fired from Apple and he ended up going to Pixar. And when he went to Pixar, that's when he found that love of storytelling. And he said that famous line of, the smartest person in the room, or like the person in the room that people listen to the most, is the best storyteller. And then of course he went on, and when the iPod. Yes, the iPod. When the iPod came out, he said it was, 1,000 songs in your pocket. And he started to come up with those lines. And now he's known as the world's best storyteller, but he didn't start that way. So, looking back on things that you've changed in your life and really taking an honest assessment and then reframing that, taking back your power from the struggle. Like I tell my audience all the time, I tell my clients all the time, like, what struggle can you turn into an inspiration story? Like if you have a struggle, then you have a story, because we like tension and struggle, like that is at the heart of every story. Overcoming something is at the heart of every story.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. If you want to hear the rest of my interview with Cyndi Zaweski, I will link to it in the show notes. You can watch it on YouTube or you can listen to the audio version. Both are options. As always, thank you for listening, and be sure to come back next time for more social media news, strategy, or other things you should know.
Let me tell you a couple things that you should know about me. A product manager, but do not have a bachelor's degree. But actually, that's factually a fraction of me. Another fraction's posting content irregular and irrationally. Still probably won't get a job at the Gram. They forgot, they don't know, or don't care who I am. That's why you never see me at the parties and events. My lack of followers must make me irrelevant. Don't have a course or book to sell to make a bag of grand. Not a social media marketer, don't represent any brands. Plain to see, don't have an agency, but I got a lot of spam. Just putting in my work, without the glitz and glam. Won't catch me eating fish, unless it's shrimp or clam. No six pack, no risk that, there's a gym card in my hand. Don't have a full-time job, but I got a lot of plans. Stay plotting, dropping knowledge on TikTok and Instagram.